This presentation deals with the health and environment effects of titanium dioxide that find use in the construction sector. It has been created by the NanOER project Erasmus Plus consortium. Specifically, the University of Sevilla has worked on this content. The contents of the presentation are the following. Initially, the definition of the material will be given together with its main structural and functional properties. Then, the main manufacturing processes will be described. The main uses in the construction sector will be discussed. Afterwards, the health effects will be analyzed and prevention measures will be suggested. Also, the main environmental effects will be presented. Concluding, an example of an LCA calculation for the production of titanium dioxide will be given. Titanium is one of the most common metals on Earth, but it does not occur naturally in these elements of form. TeO2, also known as titanium oxide or titanium, is the naturally occurring compound created when titanium reacts with airborne oxygen. As an oxide, titanium is found in minerals in the Earth's crust. It is also found with other elements, including calcium and iron. TeO2 is typically thought of as being chemically inert, meaning it does not react with other chemicals and is, therefore, a stable substance that can be used in many different industries and for various applications. TeO2 is a non-toxic material, thermal and chemically stable, biocompatible, excellent corrosion resistant and strong oxidizing agent with large surface area, has very high photocatalytic activity and strong absorption against ultraviolet radiation. It is an inexpensive material with high dielectric constant and low production cost. Typically, they are employed in the preparation of fabric, windows, and anti-fogging automobile mirrors because of their self-cleaning and anti-fogging properties. Titanium dioxide nanoparticles also act as a sanitizer for the environment. TeO2 crystal exists in three common polymorphs in nature: anastas, rutile, and brookite. Rutile is the most thermodynamically constant among the different polymorph structures. Of the three common TeO2 polymorphs, TeO2 nanoparticles are produced in the rutile and anastas forms. Unlike larger TeO2 particles, TeO2 nanoparticles are transparent rather than white. The principal natural source of titanium dioxide is mined ilmenite ore, which contains between 45 and 60% of TeO2. From this, or an enriched derivative, there are two main production methods to convert titanium-containing ores into pure titanium oxide: the sulfate or the chloride process. Of the two methods of extraction, the sulfate process is currently the most popular method of producing TeO2 in the European Union, accounting for 70% of European sources. The remaining 30% is the result of the chloride process. On a global level, it is estimated about 40 and 45% of the world's production is based on the chloride process. As a widely used substance with multiple applications, research is being carried out to improve the production process to reduce the levels of chemicals used and waste produced, and to recycle any byproducts. The sulfate process relies on sulfuric acid to leach titanium from ilmenite ore. The resulting reaction produces titanyl sulfate. A secondary hydrolysis stage is used to break the titanyl sulfate into hydrated TeO2 and H2SO4. Finally, heat is used to remove the water and create the end product, pure TeO2. The reactions are shown for each phase. Each stage of the sulfate process uses some form of sedimentation or filtration to remove impurities. The crystallizer stage is important for bulk removal of iron sulfate. If not sufficiently removed, FeSO4 will cause an undesirable yellowish tinge to the final TiO2 product. The FeSO4 byproduct is often sold into diverse industries such as water treatment chemicals, cement additives, and even food-related additives. The chloride process uses chlorine gas, Cl2, and coke, C+, at elevated temperature to create titanium tetrachloride, TeCl4. Secondary oxidation removes the chlorine gas and creates titanium dioxide. pH measurement is not used in the initial phases of the chloride processes. However, it is used later on in downstream surface treatment of TiO2. Apart from solid or liquid gas of unreacted minerals or different chlorine compounds, the chloride process can produce gaseous particulates, chlorine and sulfur dioxide emissions. The advantage of the chloride process is that the process is short, the production capacity is easy to expand, the degree of continuous automation is high, the energy consumption is relatively low, and the three wastes are few. Also, high-quality products can be obtained. Despite these advantages, it requires significant investment, involves complex equipment structures, and demands high-quality materials. TiO2 nanoparticles find application across various sectors, including environmental protection and building engineering, medicine, agriculture, and the food and cosmetic industry. In the construction industry, TiO2 is primarily utilized for its ability to decompose environmental pollutants, absorb heat, and provide durable white finishes. Additionally, TiO2 significantly enhances the longevity of plastic products by imparting improved durability and resistance to environmental factors. Moreover, TiO2 plays a crucial role in the energy sector. It is instrumental in solar energy production and in enhancing the efficiency of batteries. In terms of the composition of environmental pollutants, titanium dioxide, when utilized as a photocatalyst, can be incorporated into various materials to break down environmental pollutants, thereby reducing their environmental footprint and increasing energy efficiency. Additionally, it can decompose sulfur oxides, which are harmful inorganic substances present in the atmosphere. With regards to absorption of heat, TiO2 can help tackle the urban heat island effect, which is a growing problem in many cities across the world due to the absorption of heat by construction materials. Painting surfaces with white paint containing TiO2 is an effective way to reduce this effect, helping to make city life in hot climates more bearable. Concerning long-lasting white finishes, TiO2 pigments help to maintain the quality of products for longer. In paints, TiO2 enhances their opacity and supports durability through a resistance to heat, light, and weathering, due to their high refractive index. TiO2 pigments scatter light so well, so they are unrivaled opacifiers, providing outstanding covering power for paints. In reference to plastic product lifetime extension, TiO2 pigment in plastics help to protect and extend plastic product lifetime, helping to make them durable in extreme weather conditions and to protect them from damage caused by sunlight, contributing to the reduction of plastic waste. As to production of solar energy, the photocatalytic properties of TiO2 mean that it is used in existing and new solar energy technologies that could make a powerful contribution to renewable targets. A type of solar power cell available for use, known as grid-cell cells, utilizes nano-titanium dioxide to produce solar energy in a process similar to photosynthesis in plants. Regarding the improvement of the efficiency of batteries, titanium dioxide is a valuable chemical that can help to improve the efficiency of battery by extending both their energy storing capacity and their lifetime. New advances in these batteries demonstrate the high capacity of these to be recharged in just a few minutes. Several health effects have been identified for titanium dioxide, including respiratory problems, cell damage, dermal effects, as well as digestive system, reproductive, and cardiovascular hazards. Several studies have proven these health effects caused by titanium dioxide particles, that special prevention measures need to be taken into account. Concerning respiratory problems, titanium dioxide can irritate the lungs. Repeated exposure may also lead to bronchitis, characterized by coughing, phlegm, and shortness of breath. Moreover, some studies found in this exposure vulnerability in the earlier stages of lung development, increasing the risk of asthma. With regard to self-damage, nano-TO2 causes oxidative DNA damage, as well as a slight increase in number of DNA strand breaks, a micronuclei formation that is indicative of chromosomal aberrations in different cell lines. In reference to dermal diseases, stratum corneum cells located in the skin's outermost layer serve as a major pathway for the absorption of nano-TO2 that, when dispersed in the circulatory system, it can accumulate in organ tissues. This substance can be a mutagen for dermal cells by causing DNA strand breaks and oxidative stress. In terms of digestive and urinary system hazard, if oral consumption of the oxide's nanoform exceeds the recommended limit, it can induce irreversible damage, such as stomach and intestine inflammation, liver cell necrosis, progression of colon tumors, and nephrotoxicity in kidneys. Concerning reproductive hazard, TO2 nanoparticles may also have the potential for causing reproductive damage in humans, although this hazard needs to be investigated further. As to cardiovascular hazard, exposure to TO2 particles may cause cardiovascular effects at concentrations below those causing adverse pulmonary effects, including lesions to myocardial tissue. Preventive measures should encompass both engineering controls and safety work protocols. Key engineering controls include implementing proper ventilation system, utilizing closed processes to minimize direct exposure, ensuring the use of personal protective equipment, and monitor titanium dioxide airborne concentrations. Additionally, comprehensive employee training on hazard and appropriate material handling practices is essential. Continuous environmental monitoring to detect the presence of titanium dioxide in the air is crucial, as is conducting regular medical examination for workers. Moreover, it is imperative to adhere to responsible waste management policies in order to maintain a safe and healthy environment. The increasing production of titanium dioxide will necessarily result in environmental hazard from the moment it gets released into the environment. There are two main ways of depositing titanium dioxide in the environment: directly during use and consumption of relevant goods, and indirectly as waste. The gathering of data is of great importance for understanding its undesirable consequences. Titanium dioxide as a nanomaterial constitutes a threat to the environment, but there are many gaps in the environmental hazard identification. The use of TO2 in various industry and products can lead to their transportation in water and soil, negatively impacting species and ecosystems. Although nano CO2 particles can benefit agriculture, they can potentially decrease soil health and crop productivity. With regard to change in soil properties, CO2 nanoparticles can significantly alter soil health, binding and release of nutrients, influencing plant uptake and soil fertility, and ecosystem functioning by affecting enzyme activities, microbial community, nutrient availability, pH, physical property, and organic matter interactions. Moreover, CO2 nanoparticles can alter soil structure and porosity, impacting water retention and air circulation. In reference to impact on microbial populations, microbes are crucial for decomposing and recycling organic materials. CO2 nanoparticles can modify microbial population dynamics, diversity, and activity by changing soil properties. Low concentration of CO2 nanoparticles may enhance urea activity, while high concentration can reduce it, affecting bacterial nitrogen levels and enzyme activities. CO2 nanoparticles influence the bacterial colonies in soil, reducing microbial biomass and diversity, thereby having a negative effect by changing the bacterial composition of the ecosystem. This alteration in microbial activity and enzyme function can disrupt crucial processes like nitrogen fixation and methane oxidation, affecting soil health and nutrient cycling. Concerning plant interaction, the interaction between CO2 nanoparticles and plants is influenced by the nanoparticle size, crystal phase, and surface coating. Smaller CO2 nanoparticles, less than 30 nanometers, can penetrate plant cells, affecting water flow and potentially leading to translocation from roots to leaves. Studies have shown that CO2 nanoparticles of 12, 22, and 25 nanometers can move from roots to leaves in certain plants. Terrestrial plants collect CO2 nanoparticles from the soil and store them in stems, leaves, and fruits, which promotes germination and root expansion. In reference to impact on plant health, CO2 nanoparticles can disrupt antioxidant stress responses in plants. They also interfere with various physiological and biochemical parameters in plants. Due to their photocatalytic activity, CO2 nanoparticles can affect photosynthesis, metabolism, and gene expression under light exposure. Negative impacts on plant growth have been observed, potentially leading to the loss of beneficial soil bacteria that promote plant growth, thereby impacting overall ecosystem functionality. In terms of impacts on aquatic organisms, phytoplankton, essential to marine ecosystems, can absorb or interact with CO2 nanoparticles, significantly reducing their growth. Moreover, the photocatalytic activity of CO2 nanoparticles under UV light can further induce toxicity in marine phytoplankton. Mussels and other filter-feeding bivalves tend to accumulate CO2 nanoparticles, and their combination with ocean acidification can impair feeding and metabolism in mussels. CO2 nanoparticles have been reported to cause immunotoxic, genotoxic, and neurotoxic effects in various marine organisms, with the extent of toxicity influenced by particle size, exposure duration, and environmental stressors. As to interaction with other contaminants, CO2 nanoparticles can interact with heavy metals and organic pollutants in aquatic environments, creating harmful conditions for aquatic life. For instance, CO2 nanoparticle exposure can increase arsenic accumulation in aquatic animals and subsequently in the human food web. An example will be now presented for an LCA calculation which has been reviewed by a scientific article titled Life Cycle Environmental Impact Assessment of Titanium Dioxide Production in China. Sustainability should be assessed across the whole value chain using a product life cycle approach from selecting and sourcing raw materials to how the final product is used and disposed. For this analysis, 1 kilo of CO2 production in China using chloride and sulfate routes is selected as the functional unit. The two dominant production routes, the chloride and sulfate routes, are analyzed in order to evaluate multiple environmental impacts associated with CO2 production. A cradle-to-gate approach is adopted to schematize the system boundaries of CO2 production from initial mineral extraction to the final product. For the sulfate route, it covers two main sequential technological stages: mining and beneficiation, and CO2 pigment production. The mining and beneficiation stage involves mechanical methods such as drilling, blasting, and excavation. The chloride route shares the same initial step as the sulfate technology. However, due to more stringent grade regulations in this method, it is essential to enhance the concentrate grade of the titanium. This table represents the life cycle inventory, which summarizes the mass flow calculations of all inputs and outputs for producing 1 kilo of CO2 from the chloride and sulfate approaches, respectively. The normalized LCIA result of the CO2 production shows that both the chloride and sulfate routes cause higher impacts on toxicity indicators, including freshwater ecotoxicity, marine ecotoxicity, and human carcinogenic toxicity. The impacts of global warming, ozone formation, human health, fine particulate matter formation, ozone formation, terrestrial ecosystems, terrestrial acidification, freshwater eutrophication, terrestrial ecotoxicity, human non-carcinogenic toxicity, and fossil resource scarcity exhibit relatively minor environmental burdens. The remaining 6 impact indicators are negligible. The main findings are that environmental impacts caused by the chloride route are far less than the sulfate route. This conclusion highlights the necessity to upgrade CO2 production technology from sulfate route to chloride route. According to some findings, as a result of the life cycle analysis, it was found that in some cases the chloride process has a lower footprint and in other cases the sulfate process. This was principally driven by factors that vary independently, including ore type, ore country emissions factors, CO2 manufacturing country factors, energy manufacturing processes, energy type, allocation to byproducts, internal CO2 plant process configurations, raw material types, and factors such as coating agents. For this reason, it was concluded that a single figure covering both processes gave the best representation of an industry average of the environmental impact. Since 2010, the TDMA has gathered cradle-to-gate information about the environmental and carbon footprint of CO2. These life cycle data have helped to demonstrate that the total environmental footprint of white paint reduces as the CO2 content increases. Paints with a high CO2 content are significantly more durable than those containing low levels of CO2. Buildings painted with durable paints typically need repainting less often. In this way, CO2 can have a positive impact on the total product environmental footprint of buildings over their lifespan. The main review articles featuring the presented information are available in these next slides. This work has been funded by NanOER project, an Erasmus Plus project.